if I could ask you to assemble and give us your attention. My name is Alvin Thornton, and I'm so pleased to see everyone. I want to thank each of you for coming out this afternoon. We've had a great start to the Nations Classic, the 2014 version. Had a great event last night with some of our HUSA presidents from the past, and an excellent set of panels this morning featuring the presidents of our university and Morehouse College and members of our faculty. And now we get to the game before the game. To get us started, I'd like to call upon Dr. Bernard Richardson, who's the dean of our chapel, for the invocation. Dean Richardson.
Let us pray. Most gracious and loving God, you are the giver of every good and perfect gift, and we give thanks for the gift of Howard University and Morehouse College. We give thanks for what these institutions mean to us as a people, a nation, and the global community. We give thanks for the opportunity to be participants, to be witnesses, to uphold, to build upon the great legacies of Howard University and Morehouse College. We give you now our student debaters. And when they stand before us, may they find strength and inspiration in knowing that we come not to judge or to critique, but to celebrate their gifts and talents, to celebrate their courage, to celebrate all whom they represent, the emergence of a new generation of leaders. We celebrate, O God, that the labors of our forebears have not been in vain. Morehouse and Howard will continue to provide our nation and the global community leaders who will help to make this world what it never has been and yet must be. Bless now what our eyes will see, our ears will hear, our hearts will feel on this day. In your name we pray, amen.
We will now have a musical selection by one of our graduates, a 2014 graduate of Howard University, Mr. Alex R. Hill. Alex?
Can everyone please stand?
Thank you, Alex. Thank you so much. We're going to now receive welcoming comments from two of our leaders at our respective institutions. But before I do that, all of this is made possible by the leaders of our debate teams on our respective campuses. And I want to begin by asking you to join me in acknowledging their hard work and leadership and stewardship of our students. From Howard University, Professor Angela Miner, please. And from Morehouse College, Professor Ken A. Newby. Ken? Thank you all for your leadership of this initiative. We're in the fourth year now. It's been amazingly successful, and we just thank them for their leadership. Now, please join me in welcoming two representatives from Howard and Morehouse. First, from Morehouse College, bringing greetings on behalf of Morehouse College, Mr. Henry Goodgame, who is the Vice President for Development and Alumni Relations at Morehouse College.
Good afternoon. I'm Henry Goodgame, Director of Alumni Relations and Annual Giving at Morehouse College. On behalf of the President of Morehouse College, Dr. John Sylvanus Wilson, and our First Lady, Dr. Carol Espy Wilson, our Board of Trustees, alumni, faculty, staff, and students, we thank you for your presence today. It is exciting to recognize debate continues to be a rare, preserved activity at both our institutions. This event, named for two beloved and talented orators and college presidents, Dr. Benjamin Elijah Mays and Dr. Mordecai Wyatt Johnson, is made more special by our salute to them today through the art of debate. We hope you enjoy this rarefied oratorical experience from both our talented teams. Thank you for your presence once again. Good day.
And now, on behalf of the School of Communications at Howard University, Dr. Wilhelmina Wright Harp. She is Professor and Associate Dean for Research and Academic Affairs in the School of Communications at Howard University. Dr. Wright Harp.
Good afternoon. On behalf of President Dr. Wayne Frederick, Acting Provost Dr. Michael Winston, trustees, administrators, faculty, students, and all of the Howard University community, it is my distinct pleasure to welcome you to the 2014 Mordecai Wyatt Johnson Benjamin Elijah Mays Student Debate. We are delighted to have you here to participate and share in this fourth annual debate, which has brought two historical institutions together and the DC community. Additionally, I would like to acknowledge our guests and participants who have made today's program possible. Dr. John Sylvanus Wilson, Jr., President of Morehouse College, Dr. Bernard Richardson, Dean of the Howard University Chapel, Dr. Constance Ellison, our Interim Vice President for Student Affairs, Professor Kenneth Newby, Esquire, Coach of the Morehouse College Forensics Debate Team, Professor Angela Miner, Esquire, Director of the Howard Martin Luther King Jr. Forensic Debate Team, and the Honorable Alexander Williams Jr., retired judge of the U.S. District Court of Maryland. I have the privilege today, on this momentous occasion, to welcome you and to provide a few remarks before the superb oratory performance you will experience in a few moments. The debate is named after Presidents Johnson and Mays for their highly esteemed and notable service to Howard University and Morehouse College. Their contributions are beyond the time that I am allotted this afternoon, but their legacy can be found in what you will experience from these young debaters. Their intellectual prowess is something we want to illuminate for students at both institutions. Although the Howard University debate team dates back to the early 1940s, the Dr. Martin Luther King Forensic Program was started in 1973 by our communications faculty member, Dr. Laura Fleet. The forensic program is housed in the School of Communications, where Dr. Gracie Lawson Borders serves as dean. Our current director, Angela Minor, Esquire, has done a superb job of working with our talented young people who have won numerous competitions around the nation. The Morehouse College Forensic Program started in 1906 and began national competitions in 1953. Their coach, Professor Ken Newby, is certainly proud, and rightfully so, after their national championships in 2013. Today's debate will address topics at the core of political and social issues that will impact us for generations to come. So prepare for a stimulating competition representing some of the brightest minds at our respective institutions who will exhibit to other young people in attendance today the true art of debate. Prepare to hear students who have thoroughly researched their subjects, know their history, and command our attention through their knowledge, physical presence, and the eloquence of their oratory skills. And prepare to be enlightened. Again, welcome, sit back, and get ready for a great debate.
There are many football classics around the nation. You know of them. And mostly it's about two athletic teams on a football field playing football. When you have Morehouse and Howard University playing, it is a classic, but it is classics through academics and scholarship. And this is why we have more than a game. This is why we have the debate, and this is why we get to Saturday through these two men, Benjamin Mays and Mordecai Wyatt Johnson. 60 years of leadership and making a nation. 60 years of leadership between them, among them, leadership of Morehouse and Howard University, creating Martin Luther King and Andrew Young and Julian Bond and the great leaders that led our nation through its most troubled period. This is not just about a football game for us. So on Saturday, let's have fun, but let's understand that because it's Morehouse and Howard, it's more about how do you bring a nation to a higher level of humanity through scholarship and through reflection on these two great men. Morehouse and Howard University are joined at the hip. Mordecai Wyatt Johnson is a graduate of Morehouse. Benjamin Mays was the dean of our School of Divinity, and he spoke frequently at our chapel services. And so these two men, it's not just about Morehouse and Howard on a football field. These two men helped to make a nation. In fact, they created the black middle class that provided leadership for our nation, symbolized by the men that I named, most eloquently by Martin Luther King. So this is why we do what we're doing today, and this is why we do what we did last night, bringing student leaders together to reflect on the great issues. This is why we do what we did this morning, bringing the presidents of our universities before we play football to talk about the role of HBCUs in addressing the great issues of our day. This is why we bring the scholars together before we play football to talk about how we save our nation and the world from themselves. So thank you for being here today to be a part of this, this experience. We'll now have another musical selection by Mr. Hill. Please come forward. Again, for those who just came in, this is Alex R. Hill, who is a Howard graduate of 2014. Alex.
To dream the impossible dream, to fight the unbeatable foe, to bear with unbearable sorrow grave did not go to right the unrightable wrong, to love pure and chaste from afar, to try when your arms are too weary to reach the unreachable star. This is my quest, to follow that star, no matter how hopeless, no matter how far, to fight for the right without question or pause, to be willing to march into hell for that heavenly cause. And I know if I only be true to this glorious quest, that my heart will lie peaceful and calm when I'm laid to my rest. And the world would be better for this, that one man scorned and covered with scars still strove with his last ounce of courage to reach the unreachable star, to reach the unreachable star, the unreachable star, the unreachable star, the unreachable star.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Alex. Now, we move to the introduction of the debate teams. From the Howard side, our team will be introduced by Dr. Constance Ellison, who is professor here at Howard University in the School of Education, but she's also vice president for student affairs. Dr. Ellison to introduce the Howard University debate team.
Okay. Ain't you? There you go. Good afternoon, everyone. I am Dr. Constance Ellison, Interim Vice President of Student Affairs here at Howard University. I am very happy to be here at such an auspicious occasion. Every day is important, but this day is particularly important in my heart for many reasons. I am very excited to present to you the student debate team representing Howard University. We are they are extremely very smart. They are hardworking students. They are very enthusiastic. They are esteemed students representing the Mecca. With bison pride, I present to you the 2014 Howard University debate team. First, articulating the motto that he lives by every day: if your dreams don't scare you, then your dreams aren't big enough. Mr. Darrell Blakemore is a graduating senior, Administration of Justice major, Spanish minor from Houston, Texas. During his time at Howard University, Mr. Blakemore has been a part of organizations such as Spanish Honors Society and Pre-Law Society. Mr. Blakemore has also been a STEP and Stroll teams on campus member. He has also held the title of Mr. Lucy Diggs Slow Hall in 2012-2013 and Mr. Residence Hall Life 2013-2014. He currently serves as the first Vice President of Phi Beta Sigma Fraternity Incorporated, Alpha Chapter, and is captain of the debate team. Mr. Blake Moore. Next, finding solace in the quote, "Anyone can steer the ship, but it takes a leader to chart the course." Mr. DeMarquin Johnson is a graduating senior majoring in political science from Houston, Texas. Throughout his tenure at the Mecca, Mr. Johnson has served in student government and worked in various campus organizations, including the Freshman Leadership Academy, Phi Alpha Delta Law Fraternity International. Mr. Johnson currently serves as president of Phi Beta Sigma Fraternity Incorporated, Alpha Chapter. Mr. Johnson. Embracing a heartfelt allegiance to the phrase, "As we allow our own light to shine, we unconsciously liberate others to do the same." Ms. Jamisha Johnson Morgan is a graduating senior, psychology and criminal justice double major from Dallas, Texas. Ms. Morgan has served in numerous capacities throughout her tenure at the Capstone, including Freshman Leadership Academy, student government, as well as serving as a mentor for freshmen here at Howard University. Ms. Morgan currently serves as an undergraduate research assistant for Howard University's psychology department and an event planner and coordinator for the We Are Howard alum Giving Back campaign. In what leisure time Ms. Morgan has left, she spends it mentoring youth in the Washington, D.C. community. Ms. Morgan. Last but not least, living by the quote, "It's easy to be ordinary, but it takes courage to excel." Ms. Kala Ozimba, okay, Kayla Ozimba is a sophomore chemical engineer major, minoring in biology and mathematics from Phoenix City, Alabama. In addition to Howard University debate team, Ms. Ozimba is also a member of the National Society of Black Engineers and the American Institute of Chemical Engineers. Ladies and gentlemen, with great pride and honor, I humbly present to you the 2014 Howard University debate team. HU!
From Morehouse College, let me invite its General Counsel, Ms. Lucretia Cade, to introduce the Morehouse College debate team.
Good afternoon. Can you hear me? I'm actually going to introduce the coach of the Morehouse debate team because he can do a much better job of justice of the students that are going to be presented here. I'm just excited to be here because for more than 100 years, Morehouse has had a debate team, and as an attorney and the general counsel of the college, I appreciate and love the oratory tradition. And so I'm going to introduce Professor Ken Newby, who is both an accomplished lawyer and educator, and who leads the talent development and skill development of our great debaters of Morehouse College. But before I do that, because you all did your call response, we have to do ours. Whose house? Whose house? All right.
maybe we'll share the house today. Maybe we'll share the house today. It is my pleasure to introduce to you the 2014 Pi Kappa Delta National Champions in Parliamentary Debate in the world format and the American format. I give you first Emmanuel Waddell. Emmanuel Waddell is a senior psychology major and economics minor from Madison, Alabama. He's the president of the Psychology Honor Society, co-captain of the Morehouse College debate team, and intends to attend law school post-graduation. Mr. Waddell also has the distinction of being the champion of the Asian Debate Academy, the first international tournament Morehouse attended in Dhaka, Bangladesh last year. Mr. Waddell was also champion with his partner of the Pan American Universities Debate Championship held in Miami, Florida last year. And in December, Mr. Waddell and his partner will attend the World Universities Debating Championship in Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia. Mr. Waddell. Next, we have Roger Malcolm. Roger Malcolm is a junior international studies major interested in human rights advocacy. Along with Mr. Waddell, Roger Malcolm is also the Pan American Universities Debating Championship national champion last year from Miami. Mr. Malcolm has also reached numerous final rounds at national championships and final rounds in international competitions around the world. Mr. Malcolm. Next, we have Curtis O'Neill. Curtis O'Neill is a graduating political science and Spanish double major from Newark, New Jersey. Post-graduation, Mr. O'Neill intends to teach grad school in international relations. Mr. O'Neill is also the Pi Kappa Delta national champion in the World Universities Debating Championship format. He ascended to this position after debating in his freshman year and placing second place speaker in the nation at his first national competition 3 years ago. Next, we have Mr. Davon Boyd, our newest addition of our exhibition team. Davon Boyd is a sophomore political science major from Chesapeake, Virginia. He is the secretary for the Morehouse Pi Kappa Delta chapter. He also graduated the top of his high school class and is a recipient of the Stamps Leadership Scholarship, which means he has a full ride to Morehouse College. Last year, in his freshman year, Mr. Boyd and his partner won the Pi Kappa Delta National Championship in the novice division. In other words, they were the best team in the nation for first-year debaters. I give you the Morehouse College debate team.
Let me now introduce to you the judge who will control the debate. This is the third year, Judge Williams, for you. Thank you, sir, for coming back. Judge Williams is a retired federal United States judge, district court judge. He is a two-term state's attorney for the county of Prince George's County, Maryland. He is a professor now at Howard University in its School of Law and School of Divinity. He is a three-time graduate of Howard University, receiving his undergraduate degree here, his law degree, and his master's of religious studies. Judge Alexander Williams, who will judge the debate. Judge Williams, it's now yours.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Dr. Thornton. I want to assure all of you that one of the reasons that I've been asked to preside is my perception of fairness. Although I am a proud Howard grad, I'm also a proud Morehouse dad. And so I have a joy and appreciation for both of these fine, outstanding institutions. This is, of course, the parliamentary debates. And as Dr. Thornton said, this is my third year here. It's been outstanding each year, and I want to first of all introduce you to the rules of the debate. There are two propositions that we will address today. I'm going to read them in a minute. The first speaker would be the Prime Minister, who introduces their side of the argument. The government, who will offer the first rebuttal. The fourth speaker with final rebut. And then the sixth and last speaker for each of the nation, normally in nation. Now, it may come a who has the floor. The speaker can either accept and address that point of information, or they can decline. So in most of these cases, again, the point of information cannot be made during the first or last minute of each speech. Again, point of information. So you may see that, and again, don't think it's rude or anything. It's not done often, but each side can make a decision whether they want to rise and make a point of information. And what it does, it sharpens often the debate. Now, my role simply is to reveal the debate resolutions, which I'll do in a moment. There is a timekeeper here, and the role of the timekeeper is to time the speakers and the debates very accurately. And I would say if time runs out on any speaker, they will have 10 to 15 seconds to finish their particular point. Now, let me also emphasize that the views expressed by the debaters do not necessarily reflect their personal views. And again, it's consistent with their prowesses in learning and developing their debate, so don't hold that against them. I will also say again that we've done in previous years is to ask the audience not to, again, do a lot of clapping or cheering or so forth, because, again, we want to make sure that each person has an adequate opportunity to make their argument. So let's be respectful of that and not cheer. If you have to make some expression on a point that you agree, we do this instead of cheering. I've learned that at the law school. Now, can I have the captains now come up, and we'll go ahead and flip a coin, a heads or tail, and the winner of this coin will make a decision whether he wishes to either support or oppose or defend or again oppose. So we'll let Morehouse call either heads or tail. He calls tails. It's head. So Howard has the decision on the first proposition whether you wish to support or oppose. We will oppose the first resolution. All right, Howard will oppose the first resolution. Thank you. And let me again shake the hands of both sides. All right, here is the first of the two exciting, important issues that are percolating out here in our society. Here's the first one. Resolve. This House believes that when peaceful protests are met with a violent state response, violence by protesters is a legitimate response. Prime Minister.
Okay, well, before I begin time, I just want to do a little bit of thanks to everyone in this room. First of all, I want to thank the presidents of our respective institutions, Dr. Frederick and Dr. Wilson. Dr. Franklin, we love you too. But Dr. Wilson and Dr. Frederick for putting together and collaborating to make sure this debate happened. We weren't sure if it was going to come off, but they put their heads together, they put their minds together to make sure that we come up here, and we're really appreciative of the opportunity. We really want to thank Howard University, you guys, for hosting us. You're always wonderful hosts, a wonderful debate, and we enjoy the opportunity for dialogue and dialectic that you give us. Most importantly, though, we want to thank everyone in this room today, because the beauty of opportunities like this is it's some of the finest young African-American minds in the country coming together to have discussion, to have discourse, and to discuss the issues that are most pertinent to us in our society. And we're the best representation of that sort of thing. So we appreciate you guys coming out here, supporting us, and taking the time to listen. It's a great thing. And with that being said, let's have some fun with this debate. So I'll get started. We recognize that violence is an at times useful and necessary tool in fighting oppression. Even one of the most profound nonviolent thinkers in history, Mahatma Gandhi, made it clear that he would prefer to take up arms in the defense of honor rather than remain a vile witness to dishonor. This debate calls for us to become the arbiters of what is and is not acceptable as a tool of advancing a cause. So we're going to prove two things to you today. First, why violence can be a legitimate and at times necessary tool to advance a cause. And secondly, under what circumstances is the use of that tool acceptable. Now, before I go into that, I want to offer a disclaimer. You're going to hear several abstract arguments today about theories of peace and cohesion. We want you to remember something very particular. In the real world, violence is a tool. It's one of many tools, and it's often a tool of last resort. However, to declare the use of violence in response to oppression illegitimate is to say that it is never an option at any time, under any circumstances, and we believe that in the world that we live in, this is an unacceptable stance to take. So first, I'm going to explain why violence can be a legitimate tool of protest. We need to understand how peaceful protests operate before we can articulate whether violence is necessary to strengthen these peaceful protests. We'll tell you that peaceful protests operate successfully in three scenarios. The first scenario is if there's a substantial population group, essentially a critical mass that can put pressure on the state to acquiesce to the protesters' demands. If a large amount of people are calling the state illegitimate in an action that it's taking, the state has no choice but to respond. The second scenario is that the state has no vested interest in whether or not the thing is being changed. If people take to the streets and say, for example, we want more lemon sherbet in the stores, the state doesn't care that much. So it has no problem changing that because it has no vested interest in keeping things status quo. Now, the final scenario, and the scenario that is most relevant to this debate today, is when a credible violent threat is posed by the peaceful protesters. This is key when we're talking about, for example, ethnic minorities in countries, or groups where you have no critical mass, and the state has a vested interest, whether it be economic, whether it be political, whether it be social, whether it be just merely traditional, in keeping that group down. If a credible violent threat is not posed, those protests will not be effective. We think that, in fact, the most clear analog of this in our most recent society is African Americans and civil rights. The reason MLK's peaceful protests were so effective was because the alternative was Malcolm's violence. Without that threat, without that idea that African Americans have the power, have the ability, and have the willingness to utilize violence as an option, the United States government would have no necessity to acquiesce to the demands of the peaceful protesters. When you put that pressure on the state, when you tell the state, we are willing to take steps not only to defend ourselves, but to tell you to treat us like humans, to acknowledge our humanity, and to give us the rights that we deserve, the state has no choice but to engage in that discourse, respond, and make things better. If we don't have that option, we don't have those sort of protests, and we don't have the success that we have today. This is what we're saying. If we declare violence illegitimate, we are simply making it impossible for African Americans to have achieved the success they have today. We're doing the same thing to, for example, Palestinians in Israel, or the same thing for South Africans and Nelson Mandela's fight against apartheid, or the same thing for Ukrainians who decided that the oppression they were having from their leader was unacceptable and rose up and gained support from the United States. These things do not happen without a credible violent threat, without the idea that I am willing to take up arms to defend my honor if you refuse to acknowledge that I am I'm a human being. And that is what we're saying is necessary. That is why violence is legitimate as a tool of fighting oppression. But we need to move on, right? Because we don't think that violence is acceptable in all instances. There's a confined set of circumstances in which violence is an acceptable stance to take. And this is perhaps the most important point of this debate. When is violence acceptable? So the motion places us in a situation. We started out attempting to be peaceful. We started out attempting to have a productive dialogue, but the state laid out the terms of conflict in a violent way. The state decided the grounds on what this battle would take place. So this means that the state has lost its legitimacy as a user of violence in the status quo. This evokes basic social contract theory. We accept that the state has a monopoly on violence, right? It can enforce laws, and it can decide when violence is and isn't acceptable. We accept that the state can throw you in jail, the state can declare war. However, it can only do that insofar as it agrees to not use it arbitrarily or to the detriment of its citizens. We give the state this power as long as it uses it in a proper way. When the state fails in this regard, it has fundamentally lost its legitimacy. Therefore, citizens are justified in taking the use of violence into their own hands as a method of reining in state behavior and preventing unjust actions. We have a contract with the state. The state has breached that contract. We attempt to use out the structures that the state has laid down, and they violate our personhood fundamentally by reacting violently against them. We have no choice but to remove the legitimate power of violence from the state, take it back into the hands of the people, and correct the state's actions. To do anything less would be unjust. We also believe that citizens have a fundamental right to self-defense. We operate under the idea of the sanctity of self. As long as one's personhood has not been violated, no violent conflict should ever take place. This is entrenched in our legal system. Once someone violates your personhood, which someone, for example, attacks you, you have the ability and really the obligation to defend yourself, to repel that threat. The state is no different. When protesters are rebelling against the state, they're doing so in a peaceful manner. And when the state decides to violate the sanctity of those protesters, to violate the humanity of those protesters, and to declare those protesters illegitimate, the state is not a legitimate force of power, and those protesters have the ability to defend themselves and to protect their rights. We believe that essentially what we're saying is this: the concept of nonviolence is a false ideal. It presupposes the existence of compassion and a sense of justice on the part of one's adversary. When this adversary has everything to lose and nothing to gain by exercising justice and compassion, his reaction can only be negative. And if the only way to counteract that negative reaction is to say, we believe that violence is legitimate and we are willing to use violence if you invoke violence first, that is how change occurs. That is how social justice occurs. That is how progress occurs. That's how African Americans got freedom. That's how South Africans got freedom. That's how the Ukrainians were able to uprise. And that is what leads to productive, humane society. We have no choice but to allow violence to be a legitimate option for protesters, a last resort, and so we strongly propose on this motion.
Thank you. Now the leader of the opposition will introduce their side of the argument.
Good afternoon. Before I start this debate, I want to take time to thank the audience for being here with us. I want to make sure that I acknowledge President Frederick and President Winston from Morehouse, Honorable Judge Williams Jr. being with us yet another year, and of course, the Morehouse community for traveling from Atlanta to DC. And of course, last but certainly not least is my Bison family here in the crowd and on stage with me. Now to the debate. This resolution has asked us, this House believes that when peaceful protesters are met with a violent state response, violence by protesters is a legitimate response. Let's take time to realize where this debate lies. What is legitimate? Let's proffer the definition. What is legitimate can be conduced as what is progressive and what is moral. We have to look to both the theoretical and the practical to understand when these options are applicable and when we can actually go forth on this. We proffer the following 3 points. The first, violence is counterproductive. The second, nonviolence promotes change for justice. And then the third, we have an obligation to nonviolence. Regarding the first point, it goes without saying, violence begets violence. Violence creates a vicious cycle. We see this as history has always shown us. We can look across the world and we can look at Syria. We saw that there was peaceful protest, and then there was a state response that was also violent. And then what happened? There has been 3 years of violence in Syria at that point. We cannot allow this vicious cycle of violence to continue, and that's why we have to make sure that we say violence is illegitimate. We must understand that it's not going to be a fair fight when we do try to take up arms against the state. The state and all their power and resources makes it a scale that we cannot compare to. This is not an even balanced fight. This is one where the state has immense power to the citizenry who is lacking. We must also understand that violence has side effects. Even those who choose not to engage in violence, they are hurt by those who do. And that's what makes violence illegitimate. We understand that the businesses, look at Ferguson, Missouri, the businesses who were not trying to protest in a violent method, they are the ones that suffer. These are black-owned businesses that are suffering due to the violence of those states. We must understand that, even looking back again at Syria, that those children, they haven't been in school for 3 years. The children did not make the decision to act violently. The children did not make the decision to engage in this war, but because someone was selfish enough to charge for this, we must understand that the innocent are hurt, the innocent are harmed by this.
Point of information.
Accepted.
So would you prefer the Syrian people to go quietly into the night and accept the oppression that Assad is placing on them then?
Let's talk about this right now. It's actually my second point. This idea that nonviolence is a do-nothing policy is categorically wrong. We must acknowledge that nonviolence is a full strategy. It includes economic, it includes legal, and it includes political impacts that we must address. This is clearly shown throughout history. We can look to our own civil rights movement for this. When we understand that we must be the change you want to see in the world. Mama told us a long time ago, 2 wrongs don't make a right. So why would we engage in such violence? When I talk about this full strategy that is nonviolence, we understand that the economic impact we saw with Montgomery bus boycott. When we saw Rosa Parks act nonviolently and the community in Montgomery, we rallied around that. We saw that there was a hurt done to the government there. They had to change their policies. We understand that there's a legal impact. We saw the legal system work in 1954 when we saw the Brown versus Board of Education decision come about. We have methods, we have systems in place that we can use. We have nonviolent ways of attacking these oppressive forces. We have nonviolent ways of taking away the violence that this state has committed to. And because of those things, we must acknowledge that our third point, we have an obligation to nonviolence. The moral responsibility that we're going to weigh to decide the legitimacy of this debate, the legitimacy of violence, we have to look to see that the eye for an eye makes the world go blind. We can't use this tooth for tooth methodology. It hurts the innocent. We have a moral responsibility to avoid these deaths. We have a moral responsibility to not put others in harm's way. But that's something that's going to be ignored by the Assad government. That's something ignored in their case. We have to understand that we are standing on the shoulders of giants. When we look to how Howard University has stood, how Morehouse has stood, we have to understand that there are people that risk their lives in the name of nonviolence, and they brought about results. These results are not going to go unmentioned. Let's talk about the Freedom Rise. We saw the Student Nonviolent Coordinating Committee, SNCC. We saw CORE. We saw these groups organized together to challenge the laws that were causing segregation on interstate buses. They did this in the face of a lot of violence. There was bombings, there were attacks, there were riots, there were mobs, but they did not succumb to violence. They held themselves to a higher standard. And because they were able to do that, we saw that there were laws changed not only in the states, but also nationwide. And that's what we have to look forward to. That's why we have an obligation to nonviolence, and that's why this case has already proven to you why we must not engage in violence as a legitimate response. But now let's move on to what Morehouse has already proposed. I must admit, there were some things about the Morehouse case that were just categorically false, and I have to deny them straightforward. The first is the understanding of what exactly we're debating. I told you, we're not debating whether or not violence is a tool. We know we can always be violent. We're debating whether or not it's a legitimate tool. And we've given you the definition for what is legitimacy. Now let's go on to understand that the Morehouse intends to frame this debate in a way that they've done year and year before. I remember when I was here my sophomore year, and they came forth with this idea of tailoring this debate to this specific small realm that although we are given a broad-based resolution, they're going to make it so hard to debate because they come up with some whimsical idea of what this debate is about, where they can provide one example and then they at times do work. They're showing you that peaceful protest has its implications, will always have when we talk about what should be included in this law, it was Martin Luther King's minimalistic, violent approach that is not going to move us forward. We need to talk about reject the system. This is brought up from Morehouse. Unfortunately, out of the darkness, there can be light. And that's what we have when we have Max Morehouse. Where would you be without nonviolence? Where would you be when we have a moral obligation to our ancestors, regardless of the impacts before it? Thank you.
Gentlemen, I find that Howard is a very noble root ethnic minorities, since that particularly isn't barraging their households, aggressiveness and morality. I think we can use their own. Violence is counterproductive because history, whatever that really means, has shown us that it is always counterproductive. History. Without several examples, we hear history tells us that. And we hear that, we can't win, the state is powerful, they're going to win, and, it's a bad decision. So we should tell that to Native American slaves, for example, in the 18th century, African slaves, for example, American revolutionists, French revolutionaries, Russian revolutionaries, who actively forgot, they sort of thought that, this history that has been kind of glossed over by Howard demonstrates that there is actual productivity in engaging in violent action when the status quo has failed. And that is a point that is being missed in today's debate. The motion assumes the failure of the status quo. Peaceful protest has been attempted and has failed. And the actions of the government in response to peaceful protest, that is to shoot you, demonstrates that they will not listen to said peaceful protest. So therefore, recognizing the failure of the status quo, we are sort of perplexed on side government. That's why we would entrench status quo mechanisms to change the failed status quo. We don't particularly believe that we can achieve political efficacy through the status quo when the status quo has a demonstrated failure of providing that change. If somehow Howard can get up and demonstrate to us why, if I don't have the right to vote, I should use my right to vote to change the right to vote, I don't really understand how that works. I don't understand if I'm politically marginalized, for example, I'm an ethnic minority in the Middle East, how, if I don't exist to the state within a political realm, how I'm going to be Rosa Parks and everything and sit down nice and not do anything to effect a change in a system that excludes me. So we're really having a very romantic idea of what the state is, and I love the closing words of the leader who said that Morehouse is limiting things. So let's expand it. Let's talk about the non-Western world, for example, where we don't have robust democracies, where we don't have legislative change, where we don't have, say for example, universal citizenship. Let's speak about those situations where persons who are ethnic and racial minorities, for example, either risk death or violence as a method of survival. So private protest fails in the face of despotic regimes, for example, that don't have democratic structures. What do I mean by this? So, as Emmanuel told you, there are certain features in which peaceful protest works. We're not saying it never works. He gave you 3 examples: population parity, for example, critical mass, and where there's a credible threat. So it works sometimes. It's not cut and dry. So it's a free false statement coming from Howard. But in situations where those things don't exist, say for example, like in Afghanistan, Syria, Iraq, Iran, we know those countries in which persons are excluded based on ethnic minorities, they don't have the state infrastructure to fall back on. They can't ring up their congressman and say, effect change for me. And when there is nothing preventing state despotism, for example, from shooting citizens because there are no laws preventing that, then what do citizens do? Well, one, they maintain political claims, but they back those political claims up with military action if necessary. And what that does, it forces the government, for example, to negotiate on equal terms with persons because there is a credible threat to actions. Because we know words exist in a vacuum and words are noble, but if there's nothing to effect or mobilize those words upon the system, a system that has failed you, then you really are looking at a losing battle. And we don't particularly think prescribing losing battles to the world's people is particularly moral on Howard's side. So we then hear, very importantly, that nonviolence works throughout history. That the history that we don't hear about throughout the 7 minutes, it works throughout history. So we want to talk about that history and when it worked and when it fails. So Emmanuel gave you very clear points that were ignored by Howard, and this is where we're going to decide today's debate. It does work sometimes. It works, for example, when white people want to protest against gay marriage or corporate tax, because in those situations, you have population parity, you have credible threats, vested interests, and the state has a serious disincentive, for example, in shooting the majority Caucasian population. In those situations, it's perfectly legitimate to engage in peaceful protests. My gay brothers and sisters will not shoot up the Supreme Court, for example, because they can engage in the legal system, they can file claims, they can make affidavits, they can run for office, they can do several things because they gain parliamentary representation by virtue of their status. Say, for example, however, in, let's call it the 1700s, if I'm an African-American slave, telling me to be nonviolent in the face of oppression from my slave master, for example, or telling European colonists that, well, we're going to be nonviolent as you invade our shores, it doesn't particularly work when you're speaking about a status quo that has failed you. And the failure to recognize that nonviolent works only in certain circumstances is a very exclusionary and reductionary nature of Howard's argumentation. We on Morehouse are not saying you must use violence all the time, but as Emmanuel Toody conveniently ignored by Howard, it must be a tool in the back pocket as a last resort when the status quo has failed. And this is when the debate really comes down to its hinges, because unless we recognize the failure of the status quo, then we can't proceed in today's debate. For Howard's side to be permissible, you'd have to accept that the status quo has worked perfectly for Native Americans and blacks in America, and therefore they're perfectly fine utilizing it to achieve all of their objectives. It would be to assume that in the civil rights era, the status quo was working perfectly fine for Martin Luther King and Malcolm X, and therefore they needed not to deviate from it. But if somewhere in your historical understanding of how civil rights worked in this audience, you don't particularly believe that the status quo was working effectively for African Americans, say 100 years ago, and you recognize that utilizing said status quo might just be a problem, I think that would be a fair assessment to make. So, in resolving today's debate, with about 15 seconds left, I want to get down to what the conflict in today's debate is. If it is that three things can be achieved, then Morehouse can go back pretty happy. If you can agree that the status quo fails at certain situations and therefore it cannot be used, then that's one check on Morehouse's side. If you can agree that when the government indicates their unwillingness to operate within political realms by shooting you, that lying down and saying, I will be nonviolent until you listen, doesn't particularly work. And then thirdly, recognizing that saying that violence can be legitimate does not mean a prescription of using violence all the time, then you've recognized the nuance in today's debate. That to say something is legitimate does not mean that the first instance must be violent. But what it does, say for example, as you've seen throughout the world, it makes governments recognize that they must engage citizens on equal terms because there is a threat to those words. And if you believe that under the criteria of Howard's debate, that achieves greater progress throughout history, then we know where this debate lies. But if you believe that it is more progressive to remain nonviolent in the face of a failing status quo, then we're fine with you voting for Howard. We're fine with you accepting that the history of oppression throughout the world doesn't exist, and we're fine with you accepting that all states are perfect. Because we don't live in this world, we have no choice but to propose. Thank you.
The next two speakers will be members of the opposition. First, a member of the opposition will offer the first rebuttal, and following that, the leader of the opposition will defend their final rebut.
While we thank these two great institutions for your continued support in this intellectual exchange, I would like to delve right into the heat of this debate. Side government would like you to believe that Howard University is painting a picture of this romance exchange, or this romance attempt to right an injustice from the state government. But they brought up Great Britain and Gandhi as an example. But understand that Gandhi was effective because his non-violent means to promote change garnered the support of not only those in India, but internationally and people around the world. History shows that violence is counterproductive to the issue at hand. Violence does not promote the change that you would like to see. It does not promote sustained change when trying to right the wrong of a state injustice. Let's look, for example, to the American Revolution, since revolutions were used as an example. The American Revolution started violently. It did not begin with a peaceful protest. Thus, violence only begot violence until the revolution ended. Further, this idea that the state won't listen unless we respond violently is incorrect. We've seen in a number of different examples throughout the civil rights movement that nonviolence not only garnered the attention of the black community, but it garnered the attention of the community at large and led to change. Further, the idea that we cannot fight for the right to vote if we already don't have the right to vote unless we respond violently. Let's talk for a minute about Bloody Sunday. Bloody Sunday occurred in the civil rights movement when marchers marched from Montgomery to another part of Alabama, to Selma, Alabama, in order to protest for their right to vote. They were met at the bridge by the state and were beaten by the state because of their peaceful protests to the right to vote. When they did not respond violently, in that same year came the Voting Rights Act. This is the product of nonviolent protests. Further, this idea of self-defense versus violence. What we are saying is not to not defend yourself. What we are saying is that you can defend yourself non-violently. But this idea that self-defense and violence is synonymous is incorrect.
Point of order.
Deny.
Denied.
Further,
Go ahead.
This idea that you back political exchange with the military, as my colleague has already stated, it was Martin Luther King's non-violent practices that got him at the table to enact political change. Further, non-violence, when you talk about what is practical and reasonable or legitimate in the case of the resolution, nonviolence is what is practical because it promotes sustained change. It gives you change over time. It rights the injustices of the state not only in the present, but over time so that you don't have to deal with those injustices 50 years later. We've had the right to vote today because of the nonviolent protests of yesterday. Further, slavery is a false analogy of this resolution. What this resolution says is that when peaceful protests are met with a violent state response, it questions whether violence is a legitimate response by protesters. When slavery was abolished, it started as a revolt by the slaves. There was nothing peaceful when slaves decided that they no longer wanted to be enslaved by this nation. But I would like to further look at the points that my colleague has already proffered to the audience. Violence only begets violence. What we're saying when we say that violence is a legitimate response is that we're adopting a mob mentality, that we are resorting to being the Al Capone of injustices in this nation. As we see, the mob has never been successful. This mob mentality has not promoted sustained change. What it does, in contrast, is deteriorate the order of this nation. It completely abolishes and dismantles the order of this nation as far as adopting change.
Point of information.
Okay, so it completely dismantles the order of the nation. If the order of the nation is gross injustice, ought it not be dismantled, ma'am?
There's a way to right the injustices of the state without being violent. What we're saying is that to further break down the system when there are checks and balances in that system to right these wrongs is not the answer. What you do is use those protocols to respond to this violent state response. But as I was saying, this adoption of the mob mentality only further puts lives at risk. And as my colleague stated, it's not just the lives of those that are attacking the state. It's the lives of children being maced by the state. It's the lives of those who opted not to participate in this exchange at all that are at jeopardy. Further, let's talk about why nonviolence is effective. There are a number of different ways to adopt or to enact sustainable change without being violent. Let's think for once our economic weapon, using the economy as a tool. Blacks in America have $1.1 trillion in buying power. What that means is if we stand against the state economically, we choose not to support the state, we choose to buy black, we choose to pour back into the black community or uphold our funds until a justice is enacted, that's where we see change. We saw that with the Boston Tea Party. When the British colonists realized that the Great Britain would not upstand their grievances, they responded by pouring the tea over the British harbor. This caught the eyes of Great Britain. Further, let's talk about our legal weapon and how they've been used in history to sustain change. Brown versus Board of Education. Thurgood Marshall used his intellect to win the Supreme Court case that led to the integration of public schools. Let's talk about Boynton versus Virginia, in which public transportation was integrated. Or let's talk about Loving versus Virginia, in which interracial marriage was deemed constitutional in this nation. Let's talk about politics as a tool to righting an injustice.
Point of information.
Deny. The Civil Rights Act. The Civil Rights Act was a political movement in order to stop the discrimination of blacks in sales, rental, and housing. Let's talk about, as I previously mentioned, Bloody Sunday and how the results of not responding violently to a violent state response was the right to vote that we have today. But let's further talk about the Congressional Black Caucus and how the founders of that great institution has led to the advanced advocacy for politics, policies, and economic empowerment in the black community. Where would we be if those founders had responded violently? But let's also talk about this obligation we have to nonviolence. We are standing on the shoulders of giants. This nonviolence was at the core and the heart of the civil rights movement. So when we respond violently, we further deteriorate the legacy of Rosa Parks, of Martin Luther King, of those that they looked up to, such as Gandhi. Further, the burden of the pro today is to prove that responding violently is progressive and productive in regards to the issues at hand. What the con is saying today is that that is not the answer. Let's look to the very core and heart of this resolution, the issues in Ferguson. Michael Brown's mother had to plead to the nation to remember what the initial protests were about, the execution of her college-bound son in the middle of the street in Ferguson, Missouri. She had to plead to the nation because the nation and the media were so caught up on the violence that was happening in Ferguson that we forgot the cause. Further, let's talk about Lost Voices, a group that has developed in Ferguson in order to catch the attention of Ferguson, Missouri, and the state police and what they feel has been their lost voices. We haven't seen very much of them in the media because all we see is the animalistic tactics and the heinous ways that the black people are being portrayed because of their violent response to a violent state response. What we're saying is, when talking about the issues, when looking at what is at hand, the injustices at hand, when you respond non-violently, not only do you garner mass support, but your non-violent tactics further leads to what is sustained change. Responding selfishly and getting instant gratification by responding in violence in the moment does not help your brothers to come. Thank you.
The leader of the opposition now will defend their final rebut.
I want to thank you all for staying with us throughout this debate. It has been an extreme pleasure to share this stage with Morehouse, to be before this black excellent audience. I want to make sure that no one feels as if they weren't appreciated being here. But let's go ahead and talk about these points brought up in this debate. I'm going to start by talking about something that was a misconception given by side government. Morehouse made it clear, when do peaceful protests work? They gave us their three components. They talk about the substantial population, vested interest, and when credible violent threat is there. Well, the thing is, these things will always exist insofar as it has always been the state and the government in itself. Its purpose has always been to allow for order. So therefore, when there is no order, they're always going to have an invested interest in this act. They're always going to have an invested interest in their population, regardless of what the population is seen as in the eyes of the government. Additionally, they say that there is no example of when a state who doesn't have a system of checks and balances, when a state that doesn't have some type of invested interest in the people, that they don't have any reason to use nonviolent methods. Unfortunately, this is untrue. My colleague was able to come up here and tell you about India. India was not always the state it is known as today. But guess what? There was Gandhi with his Satyagraha. He showed us that nonviolent methods is to inspire revolution, to thwart the actions of governments, and honestly, you can look at the Arab Revolution. Now moving on to the second point that I want to emphasize, lessons from our civil rights movement. I'm going to deputies of Selma. These are the people that, of course, Jim Crow South, that were deputized. They had the authority of the state to go and beat and violently and maliciously attack those protesters who just wanted their right to vote, something that they're entitled to. But guess what they didn't do? They didn't respond violently. But what came about? The Voting Rights Act of 1965. You understand that nonviolence has produced results in the past, and we can continue using these. But let's not just look to history, let's look to the status quo. They proposed this idea of if you don't agree with the status quo, you must be in favor of their resolution. Unfortunately, this is not the case. We can look to the status quo and see that in Ferguson, as my partner has already stated, that you see the cause that we're actually fighting for, the cause that is what we need to focus on is not noticed, it is overshadowed when we employ violent methods. We cannot allow this to continue because we have non-violent methods that will allow for you to reach your cause, for you to change the world, for you to be the change in society that you want to see. Let's be clear, violence begets violence. With violence, you are creating a notion of allowing for people to, out of darkness, create more darkness. What you're adding is chaos. What you're adding is disorder. There will be no peace from that. All you have is this false idea of what exactly peace is. So now as I close, I want to be clear on what the burdens of this resolution is. The burdens of this resolution include making sure that Morehouse proves to you, why must we ignore history? Make sure Morehouse proves to you, why is this prolonged fight due to violence encouraged? And most importantly, we need to understand, why is it legitimate to put other lives in danger? Why is it legitimate to be selfish and act in violent methods and cause those children in Syria not to have school? Cause the people in Ferguson to lose their business? So in closing, I'm urging you to remember this House does not support violence as a response to state violence to peaceful protesters. Thank you.
And then the last speaker on this resolution will be the Prime Minister, who will defend their final rebuttal.
This has been fun. Let's get started. I think this debate can be crystallized in 3 central questions, 2 of which Howard actually gives us and then fails to answer that we give you the answers to. So I'm going to tell you what those are, and then I'm going to go through answering them. The first question is, well, what is progressive? How do we achieve progress? The second question is, what is moral? What is our conception of morality, and what is considered a moral action in the fight against oppression? And the final question, and obviously the key question that this debate centers around, is what is legitimacy? What do we consider legitimate? And what happens when we declare an action illegitimate and unacceptable? I'm going to start at the beginning. What is progressive? I'm going to ask you this, the audience. Is it progressive to allow continued oppression and hoping that others support you in the long run, or taking action and demanding that your personhood is respected and demanding that you are understood as a human being and not something for the state to oppress at will? We think the latter is the case. We think that progressiveness is challenging a failing status quo and demanding change, not sitting down and accepting the abuse that the state gives upon you. It's really interesting that Howard talks to us about how we narrow the debate to a specific ground and don't have a broad discussion, and then all of their examples center around the United States of America and civil rights. Roja gives you countless examples of Syria, of Palestine, of all these places where people had no choice but to progress, to respond violently, to have progress. Why? Because all these structures that they talked about, the civil rights, the Voting Rights Act, going to the Supreme Court for Loving in Virginia, tell that to a Syrian who's in a country where if he goes outside of his house at the wrong time, he could be affected by chemical gas, right? Tell that to a Syrian who has no beef with the Assad government and has no desire to cause any sort of strife, but by merely being in the wrong ethnic minority or being a Sunni instead of a Shia Muslim has the risk of being shot for being alive and representing someone wrong. That's not progress. And we can't just say, go to the Syrian Supreme Court, because there isn't one and isn't an option. Howard would have those people just go outside and die. We don't believe that's an option, and we don't believe that's acceptable. Moving on, we don't believe that's moral. The second question of this debate. We don't believe it's moral to accept dehumanization. We don't believe it's moral to say the state has violated its fundamental contract to protect and serve the citizens that give it its power, that give it its legitimacy, and if it violates that contract, we allow it to do so with no response. We say we'll continue to respond nonviolently and hope the state changes. They can work with hope, we'll work with real change. We'll work with making something happen in the status quo today and not hoping something changes in the long run. All the examples about civil rights, they say, well, Bloody Sunday happened, this one occurrence, and then all of a sudden the United States government changed its 200-year history of oppressing African Americans and decided we'll give them rights because of Bloody Sunday. I hate to break it to you, that's not how it worked. We explained to you very clearly why Bloody Sunday, Martin Luther King, and Rosa Parks worked as an option, because the alternative was violence, because the threat was worse, and because the government had to give Martin Luther King a seat at the table, because giving Malcolm X a seat at the table was not an option if you wanted to have the cohesive society that was inclusive for everyone. When you give the state 2 choices and one of them is violence, the state chooses nonviolence. When they don't have that choice, they continue to oppress because there's no consequence for them. We give the state consequences, they do not. That's progressive and that's moral. And now finally, and at the end, I want to establish this bar of legitimacy. I want to make it very clear about what we're talking about today, because this is why you're looking to Morehouse at the end of the debate. If you believe even one of our examples works, if you believe, for example, that South Africans who used violent resistance to overthrow apartheid was necessary, if you believe that African Americans who decided that the Black Panther Party was a necessary evil, or that Malcolm X had valued policies that were necessary to change the mind of the United States government, then it is legitimate. Because what Howard is telling you is that all of those actions were legitimate, that none of those movements could ever have occurred because they were morally unacceptable. Howard is telling you in the future that Syrians must die. They're telling you in the future that Ukrainians must roll over. They're telling you in the future that we as people must accept abuse from the United States government and not take the action into our own hands, defend ourselves, and force change upon them. If you believe that that is an unacceptable reality, if that is not a world that you want to live in, then you're looking to Morehouse. You're looking to something as a legitimate option. We're not saying that you should always be violent. When you remove violence as a tool from the tool belt, you leave all the power in the state's hands, none of the power in the people's hands, and you create a world that is simply unacceptable if we want social justice and progress for humanity. We propose.
Let us express our appreciation for the debates on this first proclamation. Outstanding, both sides. Now we have another very exciting issue. Please stay around for this one. This is another great issue. Here it is. Resolved. This House believes that HBCUs must diversify to remain relevant in the 21st century. Morehouse has the option here to support or oppose. All right, they'll go. They'll support. Morehouse first. Prime Minister. He will introduce their side of the argument. Prime Minister.
You guys didn't button up, did you? I didn't button up. Nah. All right. Before I begin, I would like to thank everybody for being here today. I would like to thank our coach Newby. I would like to thank Howard's coach, Inside Howard, for coming in and presenting probably an interesting case. I'd like to thank the audience for coming here today. I love Howard. I love being here. Thank you, Morehouse. I know it was a trek coming up here. I thank you guys for coming and supporting the debate team. Debate is a very important sport, and I'm glad that you guys are here to support it. So with that, I'll start my time. Our students today are waist high in the waters of globalization. We must offer them attractive learning options to immerse them in different world cultures. In order to be the leaders this nation demands of them, they will need to speak critical language and understand the history of cultures and nations different from their own. This is a quote from David Wilson, president of Morgan State University. Why is this quote so important? It's because since their founding, HBCUs have catered to the unique needs of African American students. However, in order to parallel the status quo, HBCUs must recognize the importance of its global African diaspora and expand its reach to more than just African American students. So I'm going to tell you three things today. I'm going to tell you what's threatening the relevance of HBCUs. Secondly, I'm going to tell you the plan that Morehouse has to solve said issues. And then thirdly, I'm going to tell you the benefit of the plan. Do you guys have any questions before I begin? Cool. So, what's going on in the status quo? What is the issue? The issue in the status quo is that, one, HBCUs are currently not connected enough with the African diaspora. HBCUs have this public perception, not necessarily private, but this public perception that they're only accommodating to African American students, which could eventually turn some people off from even thinking about HBCUs. Secondly, international students only take up 7% of the national population of HBCUs. And this is according to a Penn State University study. Second thing, only 10% of HBCUs offer Chinese, Japanese, and other languages aside from Spanish and French in their curriculums as a major or minor. So that means Portuguese, Arabic, Chinese, and Japanese, obviously. 3, recruitment lacks a global outreach. What do I mean by this? I mean that HBCUs aren't wasting their time going and sending their recruiters abroad, trying to make a connection with countries such as Zimbabwe, Cameroon, Brazil, other African countries. The issue is that we need to expand and we need to make sure that other countries know what HBCUs are. And here's how Morehouse proposes said plan and is going to solve this. 1, we're going to shift the focus toward the African diaspora and increase the amount of international students from different countries, e.g. Cameroon, Zimbabwe, Jamaica, Virgin Islands, and Brazil. Secondly, increasing the amount of students sent abroad. Currently, Morgan State and Spelman College lead the charge in internationalizing. What do I mean by this? In the 2013-2014 school year alone, Spelman College sent 433 students abroad. 433. And currently, Morgan State leads HBCUs in the amount of Fulbright scholars. So, how do we get this to other HBCUs? Well, we enact this three-part plan, and then there are going to be several benefits that accrue because of it. We're going to be better prepared for global interaction. Students will be better prepared to interact with the global community and connect with people knowing their language and customs. And I'm sure that our side Howard knows about that since they're Spanish majors. Yo tampoco. So, in a world where commerce, media, business resonates beyond borders, decorum gives people of color an upper advantage to better identify with business partners and scholars. 2, language diversity. Investing more in foreign languages gives students the opportunity to learn another language, giving them all the benefits of learning one, which is increased cognitive ability. Also, cultural relativism, also cultural sensitivity, understanding and acknowledging that these cultures have something to offer. Just like Bill Nye says, everyone that you meet knows something that you don't. This opportunity gives people the ability to know something that other cultures do know that we don't necessarily know at the moment. 3, this is obviously going to be good for presidents like Dr. Wilson and Dr. Frederick. These are going to actually have more companies wanting to invest in HBCUs. This is why, because exposing students to international opportunities makes them a prime target for companies seeking diversity and people of color. Secondly, it increases the HBCU investment from companies. And I'll give you an example. Let's say that Bethune-Cookman were to send a student to Jordan, and she writes a blog every day, and Reuters or The Guardian sees that blog, and they're like, hey, this student actually did a great job. Let's actually see if we can give her a job. And not only that, but let's go to Bethune-Cookman, let's go to Virginia State, let's go to Morehouse College, let's go to Grambling University, and see if we can find other things, because this is not just a diamond in the rough. This is actually the bar set of excellence. So, why do we think that this is a great plan? We think this is a great plan because we think that right now, HBCUs are on the brink of losing their relevance. There are about 3 main things that make an HBCU relevant, not just an HBCU, but universities across the world. You look at Harvard, Stanford, Yale, Oxford, Cambridge. What do they have? They have money, obviously. They have the ability to accumulate some sort of prestige. And then 3, they have the overall ability to essentially make that global outreach and internationalize. Now, Cy Howard is gonna get up here and maybe say, well, where are we gonna get this money from? And this is where, we kind of preempt that, and we kind of say that internationalization, if they didn't know, actually eventually pays for itself. And this is what I mean by this. Currently, or in early July, 9 HBCU presidents went over to China to meet with China ambassadors and create opportunities for more HBCU students. As a result, China actually instituted 1,000 scholarships for HBCU specifically for students to travel to China. And I'm not sure, but we had some Brazilians on our campus that just came out of nowhere, but they didn't just come from anywhere. These Brazilian students are actually part of the JASPER movement, or the JAPER movement, I'm sorry. The JAPER movement, which Brazil is conducting, or JAPER, I'm sorry, yeah, it's the JAPER program, sorry, Roger. It's the JAPER program that Brazil is trying to institute because it sent 1,000 Brazilian students to HBCUs just last year. If we can do this, if we can spread this wealth, not just to Morehouse College, to Spelman College, or to Howard University, but to all the other 102 HBCUs who don't have necessarily the opportunity to expand. But here's why we can't get stop-tracked and think that this is just impossible. Because we can't hold steadfast the idea that we shouldn't be able to change, that we shouldn't actually adapt to the global market and to the global economy. Globalization is real, folks. I'm sorry, but if they try and tell you otherwise, then this is not a debate we should be having. So we have to make sure that we expand our international outreach. And I'm pretty sure Dr. Frederick knows that because he came from Tobago and he came from Tobago and Trinidad as well. So we need more people like Dr. Frederick who come to this country to create opportunities for themselves. So for those 3 reasons, I would love to have this debate, and I really think that globalization and internationalization is something that all HBCUs should immerse themselves in. Thank you.
All right. The second speaker is now the leader of the opposition, introducing their side of the argument.
Thank you, everyone, for joining me in my senior Howard versus Morehouse debate. Before I begin, I would just like to thank a select few people in the audience. To our illustrious presidents of both Morehouse and Howard, I appreciate you. To our distinguished moderator, to the Morehouse family, the Royal Court, everyone who came up from Atlanta to support Morehouse, thank you. And of course to my HU Bison, I love the snaps. Can we just hit that one time, please? That's why I love you. Now let's dive into this debate today. Now, Morehouse seemed to miss one crucial thing in this resolution, and to my Spanish major friend, lo siento. That means, I'm sorry. They seem to overlook one word in this resolution, and I'll read it for you. HBCUs must diversify in order to remain relevant. Now, one word sticks out to me, and that word is must. That gives you a clear indication of how this debate is going to go. Morehouse is telling you, as HBCU students, either you diversify and change, or you cease to lose your relevance. That's what they're standing before you today. And let me tell you, as someone who goes to an HBCU, I don't know if they have the same experience of being proud of your HBCU, but let me tell you, my HBCU was relevant, is relevant now, and will continue to be relevant in the 21st century. We proffer that for three main reasons. First, the legacy and the historical context that our institutions were founded on can never be irrelevant. Second, the students' achievements and accolades create the relevance that we have today. And third, and most importantly, is we cannot look to diversity to solve all our problems and fix all our strife. But on to our first point. It is no secret that HBCUs were founded at a time of slavery, injustice in the world. This was at a time where African Americans could either get an education from an HBCU or receive no education at all. We had to look to Cheyney University, which was founded in 1837, established to educate blacks to a higher standard and a higher achievement to give us that level, of education. Since then, we've had over 117 historically black colleges and institutions opened up so we could educate black people to that higher standard. Now I ask you, based on this historical context alone, are we losing our relevance? Will this name that was set in 1837 and 1867 at Howard University truly be outdated? That leads us to our second point, of students' achievement create relevance. We all have our alumni that we're proud of. These are the individuals that have gone from our HBCUs and done great things. Martin Luther King Jr. from Morehouse is one example. But the countless HBCU students that we have going out in the world and doing great things and using our name to lean back on and say that I got my education from there. 70% of all African American dentists and physicians come from historically black institutions. 8 out of 10 black judges, like our very moderator himself, who graduated from Howard University, came from an HBCUs. With numbers and individuals like this, we cannot say that we're losing our relevance, or without diversification, we will lose our relevance. Decline.
Point of information?
Decline.
Decline, all right.
Another thing that I can look to my very own institution, Howard University. Just this past week, we had students from our own institution go to Ferguson, Missouri, and protest. We had students that were sitting in this very room. They were the first ones to put their hands up and say, "Don't shoot Mike Brown." This photo was circulated throughout the entire world. CNN, and we were the first ones to have this photo accepted. I'll wait for you to get up, he's excited.
Point of information.
Considering that so many people come from great HBCUs here, wouldn't it be great to expand the brand in, let's say, the African diaspora regions?
Okay. I will address that. Like I said, since Morehouse clearly has a history of missing the point, this resolution states HBCUs must, let me say that one more time, must diversify. Let me tell you, standing up here, I am not against diversity. HBCUs such as Howard, we've brought in Brazilian students. Our own president, as they've clearly pointed out since they know us so well, is from Trinidad and Tobago. We're not against diversity by any means at all. But what we are saying is that diversity will not fix all our problems, which leads me to our third point. The diversity is merely a scapegoat that Morehouse is trying to use in order to distract us from our actual issues. HBCUs, yes, there are issues with us, but some of them stem from financial instability, and we can look towards Morris Brown, which is in the backyard of Morehouse College, and St. Paul's College, who just recently closed their doors in 2013. Financial instability is one of the issues that we face at our institutions. What we need to do is look towards these things in order to increase them. We need to expand things like our graduate programs, alumni relations, and branding in order to get this funding that Morehouse is talking about. Now, because I go to this institution, I have sort of a step up, I guess you could say. I know about New Howard. New Howard includes building a new interdisciplinary building, building new dorms, and changing curriculum. This is how you enhance and expand your legacy. This is how you become better, and this is how you increase in the world. Diversity does not fix the underlying issues that we have, and we cannot continue to ignore that we do have these issues. Another thing we need to look at is graduation and retention rate. And as sad as this makes me seem, we do have an issue with graduation and retention. A study was done, and it shows that out of all the HBCUs, only 4 of them graduate more than 50% of 6-year students.
Point of information.
Accepted.
Tengo una pregunta. So, will your love for does love for HBCUs definitely increase enrollment and fix the bills?
Okay. They want to talk about my love for an HBCU. I get it. He doesn't understand. But when you listen to our points about fixing the problems of our HBCUs, that's how we keep them relevant. As I've said, we need to expand our branding. We need to increase alumni relations, which they eloquently put is lacking. This is how we get the funding back, and this is how we keep our HBCUs declined, and this is how we keep them relevant. Now I want to go on to the points that they make. They talk about how we lack global outreach. They talk about how we need to be more aware in the global community. As I've told you countless times, folks, we are not against diversification. When you look at it, we are saying that it is impossible for you to state that HBCUs will not be relevant if we don't diversify. If we do not bring other people into our institutions, they cannot be fixed. Let me tell you something. There is no reason that you should be trying to get guests into your own home if your house isn't in order. And this seems to be something they're trying to do. So as I said, you need to look at our side when deciding this debate. You need to look at increasing branding, alumni relations. You need to look at the legacy, and you need to look at the student achievements that are being every day. These students right here, and all of you in the audience, every day, each one of you is touched by an HBCU, and your contributions and what you do in the world will continue to keep your institution's name in the world. So no, we will not lose our relevance. And if Morehouse can come up here and say adamantly why we need to diversify or otherwise not exist, I invite them to try. But otherwise, I negate the resolution that HBCUs must diversify in order to remain relevant in the 21st century.
All right. Our third speaker is a member of the government who will offer the first rebuttal.
To begin this argument, I will quote Dr. Wilson at today's presidential symposium. He said, and I quote, "We're not trying to create one kind of man, but there's only one kind of Morehouse man. It's about being a leader, being distinctive with integrity, confidence, and competence. At the end of the day, graduates of Morehouse and Howard have continued to be distinctive in this world." Good afternoon. While I do appreciate the rhetoric and the articulation of what I would call pseudo-arguments coming from the mouth of the leader of opposition, I am proud to propose this resolution. Let's begin with this pseudo-resolutional analysis the leader of the opposition continues to bring up throughout the debate. He says the term must. And we agree, must implies some imperative. But do not fall for this false dichotomy that he's trying to present to you. Either we diversify or we fall into shambles. We on side government believe that we can diversify and keep our stature as historically black colleges and universities. Now, he completely ignored my question when I asked him about increasing brand on a globalized scale. He said that he would get to it, but he actually never did. So let me blow up this argument. Increasing brand. How do you increase brand? Going outside of the contiguous United States to supply actual opportunities to those who are in the African diaspora regions. Curtis came up here and eloquently explained to you why there is an imperative to diversify. He presents to you 3 clear arguments or 3 clear goals for HBCUs. He tells us that really powerful and relevant colleges have funds, prestige, and they internationalize. Now, while he may love his HBCU, Curtis brings up a very good point during his POI. Your love for your HBCU will by no means find a way to rectify for the decrease in enrollment. We cannot go on these idealistic tirades as demonstrated by the opposition. We on side government actually present a concrete plan to rectify and to solve for problems. Declined.
Point of information?
Declined.
Decline. All right.
Let's talk about student achievement. Now, wouldn't it be great, audience, if we didn't have student achievement only here in the United States, but as student achievement in Africa and in Trinidad and in other places around the world? Not on Side Howard. In fact, Side Howard will have you believe that the only people who are capable in succeeding in the HBCU realm are people or African Americans here in the United States. Do not fall for this fallacious claim of argument. Now, his third point, and I think is absolutely hilarious, is that we are using diversity as a scapegoat. In other words, he's saying that because the government team has to uphold the resolution and say that we must diversify, that we're using it as a scapegoat. He tells you that we have to expand our graduate program. Now, again, another false dichotomy, because that's all we get coming from the opposition. We can expand our graduate program through internationalization. We can give students all across the world, students in Africa, students in the Caribbean, opportunities to come here and make sure they can have a stabilized academic environment. Do you have any questions? All right, I am going to crystallize some of the arguments that Curtis made. Now, Curtis tells us 3 threats that are to HBCUs right now, which gets no analysis or opposition coming from the side of Howard. So I'm going to blow these up. Curtis tells us that HBCUs are not connected enough with the African diaspora. Do we hear any response from Side Howard? No. So we're going to assume that they agree with us on this threat. And because they agree with us on this threat, they have to present an alternative that is far different than ours. I don't get any alternatives coming from the leader of the opposition. In fact, all he's talking about how much he loves his HBCUs and how much he neglects having changed. And it's quite interesting that Side Howard has amplified on different occasions about the civil rights movement and leaders that have spawned from HBCUs. Guess what, Side Howard and audience abroad? They liked change. And we on Side Government for Morehouse, we like change as well. Curtis also tells us that only 10% of HBCUs offer Chinese, Japanese, and other languages. He goes on to list Arabic, Portuguese, etc. as a major and minor. Now, he says that this hinders ability to conduct international commerce. Again, no response coming from side opposition. I'm beginning to think that we're seeing a trend here. The third threat, he tells us, is that recruitment lacks a global outreach. Again, they do not respond. There's only a very small amount of recruiters going abroad to spread interest of HBCUs to people in different countries. Curtis brings up some excellent examples, one of which is when the presidents of 10 different HBCUs went to China, per se, and were able to receive 1,000 scholarships. If we can maximize our resources and reallocate them to globalization efforts, I truly and wholeheartedly believe that we'll be able to maximize our resources in ways that can build up our economy. He tells us this plan. Curtis presents a very concrete plan, audience. He says we need to shift the HBCU focus toward embracing the African diaspora. We need to increase the amount of students going abroad, and we need to invest in more resources. Again, no response from the side of the opposition. So our plan still stands relatively intact. Curtis gives us these magnanimous benefits that would come by implementing our plan. He says we'll have better students prepared for global interaction, we'll have a language diversity, and we'll have more potential investments for companies aiming to hire college students. What again? No response from the side of Howard. Let's talk a little bit about better prepared students for global interaction. We cannot adopt this cultural, unrelativistic mindset that Howard will want you to believe, that Howard will want you to stand firm and believe and declare with solidarity that only Black American students can succeed in HBCUs. We believe that the plight and that the mission of African Americans who are attending these prestigious HBCUs go outside the United States of America. Curtis tells you that students will be better prepared to interact with the global community and connect with people knowing their language and knowing their customs. Our second point was that there's a language diversity. Curtis really blows this up for you. Knowing multiple languages prepares you for the job place. It creates cultural relativism and cultural sensitivity. It increases focus and cognition. We believe this is very important. If we're trying to remain competitive with, let's say, PWIs, we have to maximize efforts to make sure that every student who attends an HBCU, regardless of if they live in the United States or not, they have capabilities to speak different languages as well. We're trying to maximize global competition. The third point was that there are more potential investments for companies aiming to hire college students. Very important, because I thought Howard would ask the funding question, but that didn't come up in the debate either. The issue is more companies will be willing to give money to HBCUs who have this international mindset. So, as I'm about to take my seat, I want you to picture a two-world analysis. The world that Howard lives in suggests that only African-American students living in the United States can succeed in HBCUs. The world Morehouse lives in is that we have an expansive mindset. It doesn't matter where you come from. It doesn't matter what your socioeconomic status is. We don't care, but we want you at our school, and we will do whatever it takes to increase enrollment. Vote government.
All right. We'll now hear the next two will come from the opposition. Here's a member of the opposition who will offer their first rebuttal, followed by the leader of the opposition who would defend their final rebut.
Hello, and again, I would like to thank you for your attendance to our great debate. Now let's dive in back into the subject. Morehouse, as stated before, would like to take our broad subject and focus it on small things. They only state blacks in the diaspora. However, we realize that diversity is not only for blacks in the diaspora. It includes our counterparts. It includes Asians, Latinos, and white Americans. They are saying that HBCUs must include these people so we can stay relevant in the 21st century. Me and my partner have 3 points, which he has already explained to you, that why HBCUs do not need to diversify in the 21st century to remain relevant. As we all know, as HBCU students, we have always been and always will be relevant no matter of diversity. However, as stated before, we do have 3 points why we do not need to diversify to keep our relevance. Our mission statement, our success of our students, and realizing that diversity is not the issues of HBCUs. We realize that HBCUs do not need to focus on diversity. Now back to our mission statement. The Higher Education Act denied. The Higher Education Act in 1965 states that an HBCU is a college that was founded before 1964 that whose sole mission was and still is the education of black people. Black people. It does not state black Americans, it states black people. We have always accepted people out of the black diaspora. However, when you speak of diversity, you're not only speaking of the people in the black diaspora, you're speaking of Latinos, Asian Americans, and white Americans, as I stated before. We have a strong history denied. We have a strong history that other institutions in America cannot compete with. Since February 25th, 1837, when the first HBCU was founded, African Americans have come out of HBCUs have graduated successful African Americans. 50% of black teachers and educators come out of HBCU. As my partner stated before, 70% of black physicians and dentists come out of an HBCU. 3/4 of black armed officers come out of an HBCU. With stats like this, I don't understand why we are arguing our relevance and why we need to diversify in the future. What we need to be talking about is the real issue that lies amongst HBCUs. No, thank you. Denied. Now, Morehouse mentioned why we didn't ask any questions. Yet I want to ask them why in their arguments have they not mentioned diversifying out of the black diaspora? Are you too afraid to bring up your other points? We believe that HBCUs will continue to graduate the best and the brightest without diversifying. We realize that funding and graduation rates and retention rates are our true problem. Now, we state study abroad programs. We realize that 90% of HBCU students depend on financial aid. How can they, if we do not increase our funding, how can they pay to go here and also pay for study abroad programs when that increases their tuition costs? We realize that because 90% of HBCU students depend on financial aid, when the state cuts budget cuts, and when things like the 2011 Parent Plus Loan is affected, we realize that HBCUs take a huge loss.
Point of information.
denied. If HBCUs do not increase their funding, we won't worry about relevance. We will not exist. Diversity does not solve this problem. Two institutions, higher institutions, HBCUs have closed since the 21st century. Mary Holmes College and St. Paul's College. They did not close because they did not diversify. They closed because of funding and graduation rates. We have to realize that we have to focus on the plight of the black people. We still are struggling to become educated. We still are struggling to fund our education. And when we focus on diversity, we lose sight of our mission. Remember, our mission is the sole purpose is to educate black people.
Point of information.
Accept it.
Okay, if you're arguing that there is no need to diversify, then where is the line of demarcation with us trying to expand to Latinos and Asians as you have elucidated in your points and you don't present any alternatives?
We do have alternatives. As I stated before, I'll get to that later in my speech. We have alternatives to increase the black population. As I stated before, we are so worried about diversifying that we have forgot about the black population. While our Hispanic and Asian population has increased at HBCUs, our black population has decreased steadily over the last 30 years. We have changed from 18% of African Americans attending HBCUs to 12.9% of African Americans attending HBCUs. So I ask to you, is it more important that we fill seats, or is it more important that we make sure that our communities, our black community in America and our black community around the world is educated fairly? It has shown that black people succeed more at an HBCU than a PWI. If we do not make sure that our institutions stay open, increase our funding, bring up our graduation rates and retention rates, what are we setting? We're letting not only ourselves down, but our founders as well. As I stated before, we have successful alumni, Oprah Winfrey, Thurgood Marshall. We will always be relevant and have always been relevant. We don't face a chance of losing relevance. However, we do face a chance of not existing. And this, as I stated before, comes from funding. The state of North Carolina has cut their budget cuts for 4 HBCU public institutions. They did not do these budget cuts because of diversifying. They did it because of retention and graduation rates. So again, I ask you, what should we be focusing on today? The relevance of diversity, or the relevance of making sure that we graduate on time? More than half HBCUs do not have a graduation rate over 50% in 6 years. Only 4 HBCUs have a graduation rate in 6 years over 50%. We should focus on that instead of focusing on diversity. We should focus on how we can get black youth into our institutions and graduate them on time so they can go out into the global community and make a difference and represent and brandize our institutions that way. Why bring people to the institution and when we cannot graduate the people we have here already? Focus on them. Focus on the black people. Focus on the black people in Cameroon. Focus on the black people in Jamaica. Focus on the black Americans. If we do that and we increase our funding, increase our graduation rates, HBCUs will be relevant and will always, HBCUs will always be relevant. As I stated before, HBCUs are not against diversifying. We diversified in the 80s, and we're still diversifying now. However, how is it that from 1950 to 1980, our diversifying and our black population dropped from 100% to 80%, yet our graduation rates did not increase? In the last 10 years, only 10 HBCUs graduation rates have increased. That is a problem. Diversity is not the problem. Let's not argue diversity. Let's argue the change that we are in America.
The leader of the opposition will defend their final rebut.
Thank you once again, everybody, for sticking with us for this debate. Now I'd like to get right back into it. Side government likes to construe our words and talk about what the word must means. Must implies have to, necessity. So hear me when I say this, Morehouse, you must pay attention to the rest of the speech because apparently you've missed the first half of it. We on side opposition are not against change. We're not against diversity. We're not being prejudiced. We're not discriminating against diversity. But as my partner has so eloquently stated, diversity is not the thing to fix our problems. It is not diversity or die, and we have presented to you in 3 main reasons. First, the legacy that our HBCUs are built on will always keep us relevant. Not to say that we should rest on our legacy or just ride on the coattails of our legacy, but we need to enhance it. We do this through our second points of our students' achievements. But as my partner said, what good is diversity if the majority of HBCUs are not graduating above 50%? What sense does it make to bring students in if we're not graduating the ones that we have here? They do nothing to explain how diversity fixed this. And you want to know why? Because it doesn't. What I'm telling you is that we need to work on our brand and work on getting these students out of here. We need to fix our curriculum, fix our infrastructure, and fix our internal self. Because bringing people from the outside in isn't helping if the inside isn't functioning properly. We also need to look at funding and branding. As I've told you before, I attend Howard University. I know the meaning of New Howard. That means increasing dormitories, increasing curriculums, increasing and enhancing your infrastructure so that the people who graduated from your institution before, they want to give back. They want to give you the funding so you can continue to enhance and increase your legacy. Morehouse brings up the point, and their only points are why diversity is good. But you can see that their whole argument, everything that they stand for is flawed when we tell you once more that we are not against diversification. We're for change, and we're for change in the right direction. We're not for bringing people in when we clearly have internal issues. We're for enhancing the legacy, the relevance that our HBCUs stand on. From 1867, when Howard was founded, we have been relevant since then, educating black minds, contributing excellent global leaders in the world, like our mission statement states, educating black leaders and serving the global community. It says nothing about diversification because we don't need it. The leaders that we bring from our institutions serve the global community. So when you see that the historical context that is set makes us relevant, our students enhance this relevance, and that we have a lot more of underlying issues that will fix and continue to enhance our relevance and keep us relevant in the 21st, the 22nd, and so on centuries, you have no other option but then to side with us and not diversifying. When they get up here again and bring up the great points about why diversity is good, ask yourself this one question. Is diversity the only answer? Is diversity the only thing that will fix our struggling HBCUs? Is diversity the only change that we need and can see in the future? When they fail to answer that question, you can look to Howard and saying that you should oppose this resolution with me and my partner. Thank you.
And the final speaker would be the Prime Minister, who would defend their final rebut.
Lo siento, muchacho. There are several things wrong with what side Howard is giving you today. You were supposed to see a debate. You were supposed to see two sides clash different ideas and different arguments, and then based on those clashings, you would pick a victor. Especially on Twitter or Instagram, you would say, well, Howard won, Morehouse won. The issue is that you're probably not going to tweet about Howard. And the reason why is because they didn't really clash with our points. It was like two ships passing in the night. And the biggest burden, giving you guys some debate techniques, to give it the biggest burden for an opposition to win is that they have to clash with the government team. Here's why they didn't really clash much. Well, first, I'm going to present 3 reasons as to why we've won this debate, and then I'll get to that. First, I'm going to call this point No New Friends. The reason why I call this point No New Friends is because they're advocating for HBCUs to essentially close their borders and not try and interact with the outside world. And all of a sudden, that will actually increase the amount of funds and increase tuition, not increase tuition, but increase enrollment. What they're advocating for is essentially saying, well, hey, we're HBCUs. We can make this together if we just increase alumni negotiations and everything else. But they're not really giving you any analysis, another big word, analysis that you need in order to win a debate. But here's why the No New Friends doesn't work, right? Essentially, if you choose either us or them, but the latter is probably not likely. It's because change, what they're trying to use is semantics. Change does not equal diversification, is essentially what they're saying. That's the point. Diversification, and this is actually part of my second argument. The second argument is called loud and silent. You see, they were pretty loud. The member of opposition was pretty loud when she said, we should be focusing on our students. We shouldn't be focusing on the African diaspora. We should be focusing on the people upon which these HBCUs were founded. I'm sorry, but they were pretty loud on this, but what they don't understand is that diversification could include, right, the acknowledgement of African diaspora, the importance of African diaspora, but what they don't understand is that this can heap a lot of benefits for HBCUs, so that HBCUs can also affect their student populace who are here in the United States of America. What were they silent on? Well, I'll give you an example, 3 examples. I'm going to now tell you what they said to our points throughout this entire debate. They didn't say anything. They did not give you any points of argumentation on our side of the house saying why that we should not diversify. What they said is that we should diversify, but in a different way. So here's the internal contradiction, right? The internal contradiction is this. Well, they said we should not only be focusing on the African diaspora students, they were pretty loud on this, that we should not be focusing on them, we should be focusing on African American students. Isn't that still diversifying? They have to show why diversifying is bad, right? But they gave us different ways to diversify. I'm sorry, but they're the opposition team. They don't need to argue for us. We do a pretty good job at it, right? So in order for them to win, they had to show you 3 things in this debate. One, that either diversification wasn't necessary, which the entire debate didn't start until the members started talking about different ways to diversify. But either way, they lose on that, right? 2, they had to show how, if they were going to say how our plan was so bad, they should have proposed an alternative. And my partner, Davon, gave a great question, but she was silent for a little bit for it. This is where another point she was silent. She said, well, we'll diversify, and we can still enact change, but we're just going to do it for people outside of the African diaspora. They still are advocating for diversification. I don't understand. If you're going to propose an alternative, it should be something that doesn't involve diversification, right? So here's a third point. Diversification interpretation. We on Side Government gave you 3 main points as to why you should diversify. But here, I'm going to engage with their points. It's essentially 1, that HBCUs have a great legacy because of student achievement. They can still continue said legacy by diversifying. At the point in which you send an HBCU student to represent the United States, and not only that, Spelman College, HU, right? Or HU, I'm sorry, right? At the point that student to represent their country or to represent their school across national borders, you're actually increasing the HBCU legacy. This whole must debate, right? This whole must debate. HBCUs must diversify. First, Davon told you that that's not necessarily imperative for HBCUs to thrive, but we do think that it's a great idea because 1, it essentially solves itself in terms of making finances and making money, but then 2, it still gives them all their points, right? So let's go through their points. They said, well, HBCU students have student legacy. You can still have student legacy by getting hired by the Guardian or Reuters. I'm sorry, that lo siento mucho, tampoco está bien. So listen, here's another issue. The other issue is that they're saying, well, students cannot have said legacy once HBCUs acknowledge the African diaspora. Once again, this is still false. They have not given you any analysis as to why they win the debate. Because they didn't clash and because they really didn't argue with anyone besides themselves, I really think you need to propose government. Thank you.
Let's give both sides a wonderful applause. What a powerful, powerful presentation and debate by both these extraordinarily excellent debaters. Thank you. Thank you so much. These are great issues, great passion. If you all will just remain for a minute, I'm going to now call up Angela Miner and Ken Newsby, and they can make the presentation of the awards.
And then please join us on the stage, Dr. Frederick and Dr. Wilson. And where are the judges? Photos?
Yeah. That represent black males. And it's Trinidad and Tobago for the person who was arguing the point. And it's funny enough, we've spent the past 12 hours or so talking back and forth about a series of things, and we were saying that we probably should have participated in the debate because these are the types of topics that are important. But I have to underscore that our HBCUs are alive and well. It's not a matter of whether they're relevant, but it's a matter of how we make them thrive. And you contributed today in making them thrive, and you certainly represent the future of making them thrive.
That was well said, Dr. Frederick, and I just want to add that if there's any kind of display that underscores why Dr. Frederick is president of Howard University and I am president of Morehouse College, it is what you saw today. I long for the day when every intelligent person you see in a high visibility way around the world is from an HBCU. It makes my heart jump for joy when I look on television and I see a Howard graduate on a talk show representing some area of expertise, or a Morehouse man doing the same thing. That's where our validation comes from, and that is exactly what we talk about when we talk to the Gateses and the Googles and the wealthy people in the world about why we're here and why they should not give us gifts, but why they should invest in us. This is the kind of thing I'm talking about. And if we videotape this at all, instead of going out to see Larry and Sergey from Google, I could send them the tape, and I'm sure they would be sending checks to both Howard and to Morehouse College. That's the deal.
And you can present, please, now. And if the photographers would prepare for the photographs, please, as they're presenting. Dr. Fred.
Yes, I would certainly like to thank our distinguished presidents. Of course, Dr. Alvin Thornton, our Master of Ceremony. Please give him a hand. To everyone that participated in this debate, thank you for being here. I have the privilege and honor of serving as director and coach of the Howard University debate team, director of forensics. This is our 4th year, and it does a good to our heart and to the African American community and to the African diaspora to see these intelligent minds come up and give such an academic exchange. So I would salute Morehouse for yet once again another phenomenal year. Please give them applause. Last but never least, to my incredible debaters. They are great in their own right. I thank you so much for the hard work, maintaining high GPAs, working and just tirelessly looking up and researching these issues to present truth. So I thank you, Howard University debate team. In honor of your time and dedication, these awards state the 4th annual Mordecai Wyatt Johnson, Benjamin Eliza Mays Student Debate, Howard University versus Morehouse College, Crampton Auditorium, Washington, D.C. Thank you, everyone.
Before I give thanks for the presentation of this award on behalf of the Morehouse College debate team, I just want to make a couple of brief announcements. Number one, support your debate teams. I say to my Morehouse alumni that may be in the audience, I say to my Morehouse supporters, whether or not you're alumni or not, that may be in the audience. I say to the Howard alumni, to the supporters of Howard University, support these programs. These are important programs that are key to the intellectual development of our students. And when I say support the programs, what do I mean? I mean give money, give donations, provide the support that we need so that we can travel domestically and abroad and continue to spread our message about debate and continue to reflect the excellence that are these HBCUs. Secondly, please follow us on Twitter. Everyone can relate to that, right? Our hashtag is @MorehouseDebate, so it's pretty easy to find. Why is that important? Because when you're following us and when you're sending out those retweets and you're spreading that message of what we're doing and you're following our travels, that also helps us. That helps us expand the message globally. That increases our social interaction, and we think that's pretty important. But thirdly, to comment specifically on the debate, I think you've witnessed an amazing display of intellectual genjutsu as our students have engaged in a battle that we can herald and respect for the ages. I want to take this time now to extend an invitation to Howard University in 2016 to come down to Morehouse campus. In 2016, Morehouse will become the first HBCU to host the United States Universities Debating Championship. That's the national championship for the world format of debate. We think it's too bad that we don't see enough of our HBCUs on the debate circuit out there traveling the country, traveling the world, and debating. We don't like going to tournaments and it's just us, or it's just us and Wiley College. We want to see more HBCUs debate. We hope to see Howard more on the debate circuit, and we think that if we can have more debates like this one in classrooms and on big stages, the world will be a better place. Thank you.
I just need to add that when Dr. Frederick and I have known each other for a few years now, and when Dr. Frederick and I got on the phone to talk about this debate, recognizing that we have to travel every year, he was gracious, and he said, I'm going to underwrite half of the costs of your team coming up here, and I just want to thank you publicly for who you are, my brother. Thank you.
If I could, and I hope the photographers are getting the appropriate shots, I want to recognize the presence of the Royal Courts of Howard University and of Morehouse College. Could you please stand, and at the appropriate time, I want you to join for the photographs. So, Judge Williams, I want to get the teams together. Please, the teams together with the presidents for the appropriate photograph, please. Mr. Newby, you and Ms. Minor should be in that photograph, please. Not yet. Okay. Not yet, not yet. The courts, hold tight. How you doing, my brother? Gotta get the presidents on the end. I think Dr. Ma. How you doing, man? Now, the Royal Courts with the debate team? Please. With the debate team and the presidents, yeah. Yeah, just get in there. Not this one. Royal Courts and the debate team. Appreciate it, man. Yeah. Okay. All right. Excellent.